Hello and welcome. Today we've got something really different for you. My regular viewers will know that I'm very much a front wheel drive guy. All my videos so far have been focused on the minis that are in AMS2, but I think we've reached a point now where we need to start something new. So today is going to be the start of a brand new chapter for the channel. Today we're going to be evaluating the GT4 class vehicles. By the end of this video, I will have chosen a single car which I'm then going to focus my efforts on maximising both it and myself, and learning a lot about myself along the way, I'm sure. I'm doing it because I feel it's going to benefit me in both my driving and also in my engineering knowledge for the car. And it's going to be a good challenge, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Over the course of this video series, you'll see me not only choose my car, you're going to see me acclimatise to that car in test sessions, you're going to see me adapt my driving and developing the setup of the car, and ultimately race it in various different ways, while continuing to develop both myself as a driver and also engineering of the car. Along the way, I'll also be periodically checking in to verify the AI strength. So I'm going to do a standard test, and just to verify the strength of AI that's required for me to stay buoyant near the front of the field. So, as with the minis, you will not see me flipping between cars. You're going to see me being focused on the one car that we choose today until I feel that I've gotten to know it inside and out, and I'm a reliable source of information for you. So, on to today. So, today's test is going to be done at the Campo Grande circuit. I've chosen it because it has a very nice mix of high and low speed corners, which are then further broken down into off power, trail braking, and on power corner exits where you're actually driving through the apex. So, it's a really good, sensible circuit to be doing this test to evaluate these cars. You'll notice there's going to be no lap times today. Today's all about feeling. The end game is to race against the AI and track my own personal progress. If I were to be racing online, it would be different. Lap times would then have to play a bigger part in the picture of the test today, absolutely. So the car I choose today, it may well not be the fastest car in the class, but it will be the best car to serve the purpose of this video series. So, on to the run plan today. The plan today is to run each car with its default setup up to and including the tyres being up to temperature, plus a little bit extra. While I'm driving each car, I'll describe what I'm feeling from the car, what I like and what I don't like. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to leave the TC and the ABS in the values set within the Razor default setup. Yes, ideally these would be trimmed right back in order to experience the true nature of the car. However, many people simply don't want to tinker. They just want to get in and drive the damn thing. So this is the approach I'm going to take here today. It is worth noting, though, that the default TC and ABS values are generally on the high side in the default setups, because the default setups need to cater for adverse weather and all sorts, but also not just the in-game stuff, but also different controlling types as well. You've got some people using steering wheels, you've got some people using controllers. So the default setup is always a compromise, and that's worth bearing in mind, and the TC and ABS values are no exception. So with all that said, let's get trackside in the first car. Let's jump into the Audi. Right, here we are in the Audi. Got the cockpit already set up, ready to go. 90 degrees is 90 degrees. So, I think we're good to go. Not going to worry about the speed limit today. I don't want to go all high vis on you. So I want to show you the warm-up phase for each car, because obviously when you're starting a stint you're going to have cold tyres, so I think it's important to have that impression. And to be fair, on cold tyres it doesn't actually feel too bad, really. It's very safe, probably a bit too safe at the moment. But we'll get some heat in the tyres and we'll see how it feels. You can feel the front of the car becoming more and more positive as the tyres warm up. But that in itself is a bit of a concern, because it's gone from, you know, very safe to already quite pointy before the tyres have reached full temperature. I would prefer a much smaller balance shift. Not a fan of curbs. I'm not sure if the rear brake bias is too far rearwards as well. It's very skittish on the rear now. It's not looking good for the Audi, if I'm honest. Even like there, the rear's fighting me. I can feel the traction control kicking in. Neutral throttle's still very understeery. You turn in and the rear just can't cope. It just feels like it's going to burn through the rear tyres. It's awful, actually. Right, I want to have a look. What's so traction control was on 6. So it's on 6 and it's already feeling like that. That's a bit of a concern. And ABS is at 8 and it's already doing that to the rear. Okay, I'm happy to call this. The Audi is not the car for me. Even if it could be amazing, I'm not willing to invest the time in making it amazing, and I don't actually really trust that I can. So yeah, I know it's early, but I'm going to rule the Audi out straight away. Right, let's see what's next, shall we? Okay, welcome to the BMW M4. This is 90 degrees. Look at the size of that rear view mirror. That is massive. It feels like I'm sitting too low, but if I sit any higher, all I see is that thing over there. I feel like an old lady sitting behind her little Nissan Micra. Let's go up a bit. Let's go to there. Oh wait, let's try that. So this has got 7 gears, which means that its ratios are more tightly packed. Feels very heavy, very cumbersome. I can't get over that rearview mirror. Hear and feel traction control being kicked in there very readily. That wouldn't surprise me to hear or see that it's already very high on traction control. Where are we? 8 out of 10. Just feels dead. Hopefully it'll come alive with the tyres. Hear that traction control? Right, so we've got a fair bit of green in the tyres now, so quite happy to evaluate now. Interesting. So that funky steering movement's just me seeing how the car is reacting to those movements. Not really sure what to think about it. It's again, it's if I invest time in it, I'm going to have to invest a lot of time because it doesn't feel right at all. It doesn't feel. It feels better than the Audi though. I'm happy enough to say that. I mean, granted, I'm not going fast. Gonna do another lap. Yeah, I'm happy to call this one. It's not going to be the BMW either. It's bouncing around. It's not stable. It doesn't turn in particularly nicely. It's the rear's not particularly planted. It does understeer. It does oversteer. And that's with massive traction control. What's the ABS on? ABS is on 8. I mean, with as much help as it's being given, it still feels nasty. And that mirror is just ridiculous. I mean, even if I liked the car, I'd be tempted to say no just because of the mirror. Because I mean, if you're racing, that's gonna get in your way. That is. That's gonna cover up apexes and stuff and other cars and. No. Oh, I hope they've got some better cars coming up because this isn't looking too good, is it? Okay, so the Chevy Camaro GT4.R 90s 90, very good. An engine, a proper engine. Ooh. Ooh. Right, just whilst we are doing this, let's just see what the traction control values are and the ABS values are. So that's running at 8 as well, and that's running at 8. 8 and 8. It's a bit worrying. That bothers me when I see that sort of thing. Because it kind of suggests that the car is inherently unstable and difficult to drive. Sorry. It feels very heavy, but then it is cold tyres, so it's a bit unfair to say that. It does feel more... Already it feels more natural, like it fits me better than the Audi and the BMW. But then having said that though, I mean, a wheelbarrow would probably fit better than those two for me. It felt like the rear was going to go then, but it didn't. It was actually going to be fine. I counter-steered for no reason. Interesting. This is feeling quite positive, this. Yeah, I quite like this. Oh, thank goodness for that. I'm going to have to change how I drive. But I'm okay with doing that. That's absolutely fine by me. Yeah. I can see this being quite good fun. So although you would say this is a front-engined rear-wheel drive car, it's actually classified as a mid-front engine. So I'm guessing that means that the engine is largely behind the front axle. Whereas the BMW is classed as a true front-engine car, so probably the engine is over the front axle. It's got a bit of push. It would need work on that, but but it gives me that feeling that I don't feel like I'll be wasting my time on a car I didn't actually enjoy or want to work on. We're going to shortlist this. We're going to shortlist this. It's very heavy though. It feels heavy. It feels substantial. So stopping it it's a big car to stop. It's going to be hard on tyres. However, I'm enjoying it. It's putting a smile on my face, and that is really what I'm looking for. Right, I like that. Okay, we'll leave that there. I could drive that for many more laps and bore you to tears. So that alone tells me it should be on the short list. Again, massive mirror though. That seems to be the fashion these days. Right, what's next? Right, here we are in the Ginetta G55. 90 is 90. Cockpit's all set up, ready to go. It's quite interesting. So the Camaro's clearly American. This is clearly European, I would say. I like the old gearbox whine. I'm not actually expecting much from this car. My only experience with this car is when I did the 6 hours race at Daytona, and I had a multi-class race. I was driving the JCW Mini, and I had GT4s mixed in with me, and these weren't much faster down the straights than the Mini. They topped out on their gearing. Tell you what though, it's a really nice car to drive. It's very positive. Ooh, that feels really nice. Bear in mind it's got cold tyres. That feels really nice. It just goes where you point it. Traction control, where are we on traction control? Using 5 of 10. Oh, ABS is 8 of 10, okay. Oh, this has really surprised me in a really positive way. Oh, this has really thrown me. I wasn't expecting to have this experience with this car. A little bit of understeer there, but I pushed it a bit too hard, to be fair. So the BMW and the Audi, I didn't feel like I could push at any point. It just felt like it was waiting for me to do so it could then hurt me. The Camaro was basically asking for it. And this, so the Camaro is sort of asking for it as if to say, go on, go on, go on. And this is going, if you do that, that's fine, I'll deal with it. I really, really like this car. You put it where you want it. And it takes it. I mean, it's sort of to the point where I kind of want to start work on it now. It's just fantastic. Yeah. And playful. Right, okay. Another car, very much on the shortlist. This and the Camaro on the shortlist, 100%. Ah, happy. I was getting worried after the Audi and the BMW. I'm a lot happier now. At least I have two I can shortlist and choose from. That's fantastic. I really wasn't expecting that from this car. What a brilliant, pleasant surprise. Right, let's see what's next, shall we? Right, here we are in the McLaren. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, I didn't do my 90 check, did I? It's just... Yep, cool. So it's quite nice. So already it feels nicely balanced, but the Audi felt nicely balanced at this stage as well. So let's reserve judgment. But it's just got less grip at the moment. Let's see how it changes, if at all, as it builds up. It's doing alright, really. Quite positive in its positioning, and it doesn't wander much in the mid-corner. Okay. We're still a little bit turquoisey on the tyres, so we're just gonna give it another... It's a bit wandery there, but that's the cold side, so yeah, that's more like it. And that's on the warm side already, so it's quite safe. And it's a little bit understeery there. But it's not bad at all. I mean, that's really quite good. So you get on the throttle and it doesn't like push the car wide, it doesn't push the front wide, sorry, it doesn't slide the rear, it just sort of tightens the apex up. That's not bad at all, that. A little bit wandery there. But that's just a setup thing, we could work on that. It's quite playful. It's not bad over the curbs either. It doesn't get chucked around very much. My bad. Bit late. Style it out though. Going a little bit towards understeer there. Keep on the black bit, Andrew. The nice thing is though, it's encouraging me to push it. And it's not, and it feels like not as sure-footed as the Ginetta was. Oh, ooh. Ah, that's not nice. Okay, that's what the Audi started doing. Right, okay, let's do one more lap. I'm starting to now see similar traits to the Audi. Okay, it's now starting to get very edgy on the back of the car. That was me, to be fair, that was me. Yeah, turning, edgy, rear starting to get a bit squirmy. Yeah, starting to show those signs. Yeah, right, okay, no, I've seen enough. That's fine. So, yes, it's fine, but all too easy to overheat the tyres. Yeah. I'm sure you probably could invest some time and get the setup to the point where this isn't where it's not an issue. But if I can choose one of the other two cars where I don't have to worry about it, which it looks like to be the case, then I'd rather focus on other things, more fun things, than having to nurse a car because I don't want to overheat its tyres. So, yeah, okay, right, McLaren's out. Right, so we're now in the Merc, 90s 90. Doesn't quite sound as American as the Chevrolet though, does it? It does sound nice though. Okay, 6 gears. It was very, this is kind of, and so immediately it feels like it's very much in the similar sort of category as the Camaro, which I don't think is a coincidence, as they're essentially the same layout. Feels quite safe, feels solid. Doesn't quite feel as prefer the Camaro so far. It's already got its tyres up to temperature, pretty much. There's quite waggy on the throttle. Let's see what its TC's set to. 6 out of 10. ABS is 8 out of 10. It seems to be fairly standard, doesn't it, across the board? Either 6 or 8 on TC, and I think they've all been 8 on ABS, haven't they, so far? I mean, that'll be one of my first learning curves, will be trying to turn that right down. I mean, to be fair, it's not bad at all. But it's so similar to the Camaro, and I think the Camaro was more easygoing. Yeah, see that? Yeah. I mean, as fun as that is, I don't want to have to be fighting that sort of problem. Because it is a problem. As much fun as it, you know, as cool as it looks and as fun as it is, it's a problem. It doesn't like curbs at all. My goodness, I literally touched the inside of that curb with the left front, and that was all it needed to go, good night, see you later. Yeah, well, that's enough for me. Don't need to see any more than that. If I can't trust it, I don't want to use it. And it wasn't like I was being ridiculous over the curb. Granted, I shouldn't have been on it, but that sort of stuff happens in a race. And you don't always have a choice in it either. And I don't want to have to be choosing between bashing that corner of the car and losing aero points and touching the curb on that side and risk a spin. I don't want to have to worry about that. I just want to be able to use the curb and race and not have to worry about it. So Merc is out straight away, just for that one reason. That's a massive red flag for me. So yeah, Merc is out. Right, here we are in the Porsche. First thing I go and look for is visibility. What's going on over there? I cannot see the mirror at all. You can't see it on the screen there, but the mirror is completely covered up by the safety net. I mean, that sort of stuff just annoys me. It just, you know, right, 90 is 90. That's not a great start, is it? Sounds quite nice though. I'm sitting a bit too far away. Let's go a bit closer. Wrong way. So its cold tyre balance is quite towards understeer, or safety. Let's see how that changes. Okay. mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of hoping I don't like it, because I don't really want to go into races where I don't have a wing mirror I can use. I know that might sound silly, but you are looking to race this thing, you know? It's important that you can. Okay, so the front of the car is becoming more positive, which is great, but also a bit of a concern, because it started off very heavily understeer balance. I'll say that again. It started off heavily balanced towards understeer. That's better. And if the front end's becoming more positive, it means that it's likely going to go towards oversteer as they get worn or hot. And then we end up in the same situation as we did with the Audi and the McLaren. Bit of push though. I've still got a bit of push. Okay, so it's still got a bit of understeer. So it's not shifting too much. What's the... So it was on 8 and 8. So the good news is that it's still understeering, which is something that could be dialed out. So if you were looking to take it on, it would be a relatively safe bet at the moment. Yeah. Do you know what, actually it's really... Now it's all warmed up. Yes, it's understeery, but it feels like there's a good car in there. It feels like there's a nice car. Feels like you can play with this. You can use the curb as you see there. You're not constantly worrying about it. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually really very nice. That's coming good now. See, the nice thing about it is that even though it's got the understeer, it feels like you could have confidence in dialing in the front end through setup work without it upsetting the rear too much. It feels like the rear is always going to be happy with a more front-ended balanced car. Yeah, if you shift the balance towards the front of the car, it feels like the rear is going to be okay with it. But as it is now, it's going to murder the front tyres. But I feel like I could work with this. It's quite playful. Even that, just being really silly with the car, doing something that would be utterly ridiculous. The electronic saves you, but the rear feels like it's gonna look after you. Yeah. My sticking point with this car is that safety net. So my first impression is my biggest sticking point with this car. That's really annoying. I can't race it because I can't see. So Porsche's out. Shame, because it's a really nice handling car, that. Shame. Right, well, that's all the car's done now, so let's get into the summary, shall we? So that's all 7 vehicles in the GT4 class now given a fair run. First impressions do matter, clearly. Now, I'm more than happy to rule out the Audi, the BMW, the McLaren, the Mercedes, and sadly, the Porsche, due to its first impressions, as it turns out. So, just going to run through each one, the reasons why, just to recap. So the Audi, it suffers with huge change in handling balance as the tyres come into their operating window. It will need a lot of work to fix the fundamentals, and I'm simply not experienced enough with the class to carry out this work reliably. I'm sure, though, that once the issues are fixed, it would be extremely fast in the right hands, and unfortunately, those hands are just simply not my hands at the moment. The BMW actually felt like it needed the most development to me. It was safer than the Audi to drive, but it gave very little confidence to push it, and it always felt like if I was to do so, it was going to do unpredictable things. It has the worst trait of any race car. It suffered both understeer and oversteer within the same corner, and then would suffer oversteer, then understeer in another. It's not a nice experience, and in all honesty, I was happy to jump into the next car and get out of it. The McLaren, that's an odd one, the McLaren. It's very similar to the Audi, but it's more subtle. But it's the same problems, but they're more subtle. And for the same reasons as the Audi, it can't be my car. I'm simply not the right person for it at this time. The Mercedes, on paper, it should have been up there with the Camaro, really, but it just simply feels less developed. What let it down for me is it's got a lairiness in the rear of the car, and a massive intolerance to curb use. Now, again, while I'm sure it could be made to be quick in the right hands, it isn't my hands at this stage. I just don't have the comfort in these cars to be able to take it on. Now, the Porsche is the most disappointing of the lot. And it's for such a silly reason, which makes it really annoying. So the car itself is really nice to drive. It's very user friendly, and it's got a really nice stable handling balance throughout the entire temperature range. For me, that's always a sign of a really good car. I find that if the grip level drops and the balance of the car remains, you're generally finding yourself on the right path with the settings that you're using. But unfortunately, the visibility of the driver's door mirror is totally obscured by the safety netting of the driver's window. And I'm racing in a brand new class in cars that are not massively faster than the JCW Mini, but they are faster than the JCW Mini. And it's going to be more frantic racing. And I need to have visibility of what's behind me and also what's coming up and what people are trying to do. And if it was real life, it would be a nice simple fix. I'd be looking for a different specification of netting, one that had a finer mesh that allowed me to see the mirror. If I could have that, then this Porsche would be well and truly up there on my wish list. But unfortunately, I don't have that luxury in the game, so the Porsche cannot be my car. I need to see who I'm racing against and what they're doing. So that just leaves the Camaro and the G55. So the Camaro is a very easy handling car. It's quite big and it's quite heavy, but it feels like it would really serve you well in a tight race that involved a little bit of contact. You're certainly not going to get bashed out the way in it in the Camaro. Its handling balance stayed very consistent throughout the run, and it remained easy to drive throughout the entire run as well. It always felt like it would let you get into a situation, but it would have your back at the same time as having a good laugh at your expense. Yeah, and that it sounds amazing as well is a real big bonus. The G55 is the surprise of the bunch for me. I really wasn't expecting it to be what it is. And what it is an absolute gem of a car that goes exactly where you point it. Now, like the Camaro, it will allow you to get into a situation and it will still have your back, but it will give you more updates about where the threats are, and it will take the situation a little more seriously, and it will give you better quality feedback. Of all the GT4 vehicles, it's clearly the closest to a true race car. The handling of it is more GT3-like than converted road car. It's got the gearing of a race car as well, in that the lower gears are quite tall and the higher gears are quite short, and this does come at a cost, as I've seen in the multi-class race, of lower top speed, and it will get its backside absolutely kicked by the Camaro in a straight line contest. So neither is really perfect, but one thing I could say though is that I've got absolute confidence that I could turn both the TC and the ABS down on both of these cars and not have to be overly concerned. I do feel though that the Ginetta would handle that situation in a slightly better and more user-friendly way, though, it has to be said. But when I boil it down, I've got to answer one question. Which car is going to give me the best learning experience for this class and lead me into the next class the best? So the Camaro, it would give me a nice easy entry into it, into the GT4 class that is, but I do suspect that it won't be as communicative as the G55 is. The G55 is going to give me not only more information and feedback about my inputs, but it's going to be better quality feedback. Also, that the G55 feels closer to a true race car means that what I learn here will give me a more direct route and shallower learning curve should I wish to progress on to, say, GT3s after this series has run its course. So for me, I think it's pretty clear that it's got to be the G55 that I need to use in this series. So yeah, it's there's our winner today. I think that's the right conclusion to come to. I do think it's worthy of a shout out to the Razor team though. Now, while there's a big difference between the haves and the have-nots in the cars, they are all clearly distinctly in their own subsections of car layout, i.e., mid front engine, front engine, mid rear engine, etc. I'm not sure I could do successfully a blind test and picking out an individual car, but I'm quite confident that I could pick out a car layout just from the way that it feels, and I think that's something that's really quite impressive from Razor. So I think it's worthy of a mention there. Anyway, so coming up in the next few videos, we're going to start getting into the early testing of the G55, getting acclimatized to the G55. Once acclimatized, starting to work on the setup to try and make it more how I want it to be. And then we'll get into the validation of AI strength and ultimately in towards racing and further testing. So the coming videos are going to focus on the early stages, and then we'll move on into the latter stages thereafter. So yeah, I'm quite excited for this one. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. And if you've stuck with it for this long, thank you very, very much for watching, and also thank you for supporting the channel. And until the next time, we'll see you later.